What's up, everybody? My name is Shannon and I am still waiting for my Satyr, and today we're talking about Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. So the reason I read this book is actually because of my cousin. She hates YA contemporary, and yet she's an English major and she signed up to take like a YA class because she's, YA fantasy. She thought that's what it was going to be, is YA contemporary, and this was on her reading list and she was really dragging her feet through it. And then all of a sudden she texted me. She was halfway through this book and she said, "I literally can't handle the feelings like I'm getting from this." Like, it wasn't like, oh my god, the feels. It was like this book was giving her anxiety, and she just like, she felt so pent up about like nobody's noticing this girl, and I can't handle it. I don't know where to put it. Like, this is making me emotionally exhausted. Like, she was freaking out, and I just kind of like, I hadn't read it, so I talked her down. I kind of was like, okay, well, like, can you sympathize with the girl and like all this kind of stuff. She ended up finishing the book that night, like in one sitting, and then she left this amazing glowing review for it on Goodreads, which she also doesn't normally do. And I'm like, okay, if this got her, like, I have to read this book. Like, you guys know me, like, I really love like The Way I Used to Be, like Highly Logical Behavior, Perks of Being a Wallflower. Like, I have found books that like I've really managed to like find myself through the pages, and Speak is definitely no exception to that. So for those of you guys who don't know, Speak is about a girl who was raped at a party like right before her freshman year, and she just kind of stops talking. Like, she kind of just stops functioning, and nobody seems to notice. Like, she's just going about her life, and everybody's just like, she's so weird. She's kind of like an outcast from her friends because she called the cops on that party, and just like nobody's talking to her, nobody's paying attention to her, and she's just not talking. Like, she really can't function. And as she goes about like her life, we see her go throughout her freshman year, she kind of starts to find herself in art just a little bit. Like, that's the only time she ever gets any reprieve, and it's really, really amazing. I highly recommend listening to this book, because what's so interesting about it is that our main character's inner commentary, like Melinda, like the way that she's talking, the way that she narrates the story, you almost forget that something had happened to her, because she just seems so normal. She seems so like funny and bubbly and nice, and then like all of a sudden a character will say something about how weird she is and how standoffish she is, and you're like, oh right, like this isn't the her that's on the outside, we're seeing the inside her. And I really love how it highlights that, because I know I feel like that a lot of the times. Like, when I'm around people, I definitely feel like I have to become someone else. Like, I definitely am putting on a show, like the world's a stage, and I really do think that that's exactly what Melinda's going through, and that's exactly what we're being shown. Like, she's definitely somebody else who's narrating than who she has to be on the outside. Like, she physically just can't bring herself to talk about anything. Like, she wants to so badly, but she knows that nobody's gonna believe her. She knows that like nobody's going to take her seriously, and it really does, like, you really feel it. Like, I started to like feel all these emotions about like her loneliness, about something that her teacher says about like, you can't keep the words locked inside because they'll eat away at you until you're completely empty. Like, that's why so many adults are so empty, because they couldn't let their emotions out. And it's just like, it really gets you. Like, you really do feel it. It really does take you over, and I absolutely loved it. I would say that the ending to me was just like a little bit rushed. I kind of felt like we see her start to get better throughout the year, but I definitely feel like it rushes a little bit as the ending approaches, especially like there's like this incident that kind of happens that I feel like really rushes her along. But for the most part, I am so glad that I finally got to read this book, because it's just absolutely amazing. It totally took my breath away, and I cannot recommend this book enough. Again, I would recommend listening to it on audiobook, just because the narrator does a really good job of like portraying like Melinda's personality, and like it really worked. Like, I loved listening to it. I loved coming back and like being able to listen to it. And also, there's just so much symbolism in this book. Obviously with the trees, that's like a really big like thing about it, because she has to do that for an art project. But it's just funny because even the author like winks about it, saying like, oh, they're talking about symbolism in the Scarlet Letter, and oh, how horrible is that? And then this book is just like riddled with symbolism, and it's absolutely amazing. I really, really loved it, and I cannot recommend it enough. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit that like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you can talk books with me every Monday. That is everything got for today, and I'll see you guys next time.